Voice and Vision.
I am the voice, Carl Andrews.
Oh my
She's
God.
took it and run!
Oh! I just kicked her.
What? Whoa!
Alongside One Vision, Dave the Eye Rules.
Winner! Oh my God, he's not! Oh my God!
Guys, welcome back to another episode of the Voice and Vision podcast. I am the voice, Carl Andrews. Of course, I'm with...
Dave, the Eye Rules, yeah, One Vision.
One Vision.
That's me.
Yes, how you doing, Dave? You all right?
Yeah, not so bad, thanks. Not so bad. Another week in paradise.
Awesome. Well, we got a guest here today, Vinnie Clay.
Hello, mate. You okay? It's weird. I'm doing someone else's podcast now. This is nice.
Well,
I don't have to do the faffing around and the editing and the mucking about after. It's great.
Well, for me, this is nice and simple. But the band's back together.
It is, yeah, man.
Yeah.
I said
It's
best,
been
best
so
commentary
long.
trio.
It's been about a year since we've actually, all three of us, have been together.
That
Probably
long?
have been, yeah.
Yeah. It has been that long. Yeah, because the last Reach show that we did together as three was in February.
Mm.
Oh,
Yeah, it was. Yeah. And then we did, and then obviously Unit 10 has happened. Obviously, you guys are doing a great job at commentating that as you always do. And yeah, so it's been a bit. It always feels weird when I watch it back and I hear you guys. I'm like, kind of.
where am I?
Yeah, I'm like, where am I? But yeah, so it's quite fun.
It is crazy to think though that it's been that long
Mm.
since
It feels like it's
we've-
yesterday, but
yeah,
also
since
feels
we've done
like
a
it was
live show. I mean that night was pretty crazy as it was.
Do you know what?
Oh.
I don't even remember that night. It's been that long. It's been that long now. So much has happened since like March last year. Every day is like Groundhog Day.
Yeah.
So I don't even remember what happened on that last show. I don't remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm getting withdrawal symptoms. I don't know about you.
Yeah, I missed the show, so I do miss the performance. I miss seeing a bloody crowd, man. I miss seeing a load of people just going mental and cheering, and it's one of those things, isn't it? Like wrestling certainly has. I mean, if you watch it on TV or like we've been doing Unit 10, there's just something not quite right about no audience there. We train to feed off these people, and then when they're not there, I mean, for us, we only have to do it at like Unit 10 and stuff, but you got to think these guys in like WWE and stuff, it must be awful. They're used to 18,000 people, and then they've just got a load of screens staring at them. It must be really odd.
I mean, what makes it even worse? Because at Unit 10, at one point, you had like, I don't know, 6 or 7 people stood on the, on the outside and that. At least that was a bit of noise.
At one point, we had a bit of a crowd, and then obviously the rules changed, so we weren't. And as an Easter egg, I'm actually in the crowd on a couple of the shows because of how it was filmed. I'm masked up with my Reach hoodie on. I'm in the crowd.
Oh, blimey.
We're putting on a show. We're putting on a show, and we have to do what we've got to do to make the to make the company succeed in any way we can. So we all band together. Unit 10's great. It's one of those things I'm really hoping that once lockdown's finished and we kind of go back to normal, I hope that we still have a version of Unit 10, kind of like Reach's NXT in some way.
I wouldn't count it out for a second. If they do listen to this, they'd be stupid.
Right, they would.
If
Yeah,
they didn't continue with it.
yeah, they would.
I mean, it's the training ground, isn't it? And it's great to see, the new guys and girls kind of, break in and just, and sometimes when we get the main roster guys come in and guest on the show, and perform in matches, everyone kind of ups their game. But what you're saying, Vinny, is the adrenaline and the feedback from the crowd is that missing thing, isn't it? It's not.
Absolutely. Yeah, whether you're heel or face, you feed off that audience, and you've got your main roster, and you've got this. Some of the best talent in the country, in my opinion. But Reach is surviving, and on the backs of these young guys and girls that are coming through now. They're carrying Reach right now, and I kind of think that when we come back to live shows, the guys that come in and do, you know, the main roster stuff, they've got something to watch, because, you know, you've got the likes of Aurora and LA Taylor and Joey Seven and Cameron and all these people that are just killing it. You know, killing it. You know, thank God you got Josh Knott down there as well, because he's a great you know, add on to that as well. You know, PJ Jones has been down, but you've got and you've got these guys that want to come down.
I was going to say, you've got main roster guys that want to go to Unit 10.
Yeah, they want to come down to Unit 10. You know, it's not NXT. It's not in the sense of it doesn't look amazing. It's not. It's grungy and it's underground and it's
that's what it's meant to be as well.
It's sexy,
like the dungeon.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it is like a dungeon. And you know, so I think personally, when we come back, Unit 10 is something to watch, and the boys and girls that are in Unit 10 are something to watch, because they are keeping Reach alive in the public's eye, and they've been killing it for a year now. I mean, they're awesome.
I mean, as we're like, you know, on the subject of wrestling at the minute,
we might as well get it over and done with.
Let's. We've done so many shows together as the three of us.
Oh.
I couldn't even tell you how many we've done. Like I don't think I can count them on my hand. Oh, can you pick one of those moments? Like both of you, can you pick a moment each? I mean, I don't know. I think.
I mean, for me, the Bodmin shows. You know, we always get a fantastic view.
Let's be fair. That last one was.
Yeah.
It was mental. I think
that was pretty crazy, wasn't it?
I always remember when I think of us three commentating, I always remember the Eddie and Joel match, and we're just losing our minds. And you know, you have PJ running in. You know, I think it was Charlie Sterling turned up. UK Dominator was there or something. No, it wasn't.
Is that when he jumped off the balcony?
It was Dirty Dick Riley and Charlie Sterling, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And whoever, oh God, there were so many people, I can't even remember now. But I remember that feeling. The audience was going mental. We were going mental, because it's one of those wonderful things as a commentator. You don't know what's going on. Like, you have no idea. You're watching it with the crowd. And I remember just being feeling like a fan again.
That was like at the Bodman when at the last show of Bodman when he jumped off the balcony as well.
Yeah, when he did
and
that,
they had
was
all of them in the ring, and we went nuts.
Yeah, because and again, it's like, I mean, not maybe so much for you because you have to do certain things, but obviously we have that luxury. I don't even want to know. I don't want to know. So I quite enjoy that, of just sitting there and watching it, or standing there and watching it with the rest of the audience, and letting those reactions just be as natural as possible. And it gets lost when you're a performer, because you're in it, so you kind of forget about it. That's what I've always loved about when the three of us have gotten together to do our job. Oh man, all three of us were just buzzing that night. We were just absolutely like sweating with excitement. I always remember that one.
I mean, to be fair, any night we've done really has been pretty decent.
I mean, the thing that I really love as well is our home fixture as such at the school. You know, where we're up at the back, on the balcony, when the back row, when they're listening to us and they react to us on commentary. Yeah. That's really fun as well, isn't it?
I remember that row of there was a row of ladies fans right in front of us, wasn't it? Row of ladies in front of us, and I was like losing my shit. I don't know if we're allowed to swear on your show. I apologise, but I'm absolutely going mental with just pure excitement and energy. The three of us are going crazy, and the ladies are turning around and they're laughing at us, and they're going along with it as well. And they're just wrapped up. I remember that. Yeah. But I thought, I'm not going to be quiet. I am going to go mental, because this is crazy. There's some fantastic talent. I think Reach has got some of the best talent in the bloody country.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Yeah.
And the best commentary team in the country.
Oh, without a doubt.
No promotion like self-promotion.
Without a doubt.
Absolutely.
But we are exclusively only Reach, the three of us.
Yeah.
And you will not see this anywhere else.
No, you won't. No, it's always been Reach. I mean, and that came around just by chance, really. I've always wanted to do that, and I think there wasn't really, when Reach started, there was all sorts of plans kicking off, and I was going to be doing one thing, and actually, I remember who my opponent was going to.
Well.
Pardon?
I said I pushed you for that as well.
Yeah, and I appreciate that, because I've had so much fun doing commentary. I mean, the very first show. The original plan was for me to be in the ring, and I was going to go up against somebody who did appear on the show and had fantastic match. And then it didn't work out that way, as things happen. Just plans change all the time. And I think there was the battle royal and stuff like that. And then when the opportunity comes, like, don't know what to do with you in the ring. I said, that's cool. I've always wanted to commentate. If you want to give me a shot on that. And then obviously with your input and everything else like that, I went, yeah, go on, you can talk. It's one of the things I can do. And boom, we made magic ever since.
Yeah, because it wasn't long after that, then Jason turned around to me and he goes, yeah, that Dave with the eye patch. Yeah, let's get him on there as well. Yeah, let's make it a 3. It's like, yeah, all right then. Okay. I hope I can do that.
Jace is a fan as well. Like, this is the thing. I think Jace is the fan.
Yeah.
He I mean, they both are, but Jace gets excited.
Oh, I know.
A lot more about things.
Oh,
and Reeves is a bit more level-headed. Or miserable.
Show night, he's running around like a headless chicken sometimes. He's just full of enthusiasm, and he's like, do this and get that done. And that's what I feed off when we're at Reach, is that enthusiasm, that complete commitment to the business and to the show. It's
what I love is everyone's doing that, I think. I think the guys on the show are doing their own thing. They have to be. But you see Jason and Reeves, you see Aubrey's running around like a tit in a trance. We're running around like a tit in a trance. You've got the camera guys. They're all running around like madmen. It is 110% a team effort. Nobody is lazy at the Reach shows, and I think that, again, it's one of those reasons why Reach is as successful as it is. And I've got the hoodie here now. Like, do you know what I mean? It's a company I'm proud to be a part of because there's so many great people involved. Good fun.
Yeah. And I wouldn't want to be anywhere else, really. Why not?
Don't say that, mate. You'll get less bookings, for Christ's sake.
No, not at all. Because I'm quite happy with just the handful that I have. You
have a lot as well. Like, you have.
I don't anymore.
You've done loads. I mean, you were doing
done loads, but I don't. Yeah. I don't anymore. No. Oh my God.
At one point, you were doing like 3, 4, 5.
Do you know what? Nobody realizes it as well, and I'll probably mention this again because I'll come onto your podcast. I'll probably mention this as well, but nobody realizes, and I know I didn't realize either. But I thought, I can do this. Yeah, I can do this. Yeah. Carl,
right.
Yeah. I'll come along and do this. Yeah. Do you want to do this show as well? Oh yeah, your name's been put forward for this. Yeah. Go on, I'll do this as well. By the time I got to 6. 1 month, which we discussed this before, haven't we? And I just that was it.
I'd be exhausted,
burnt out.
Burnt myself out there, burnt myself out.
But it was great. I was seeing you work on some shows. You do work hard, and you had you even had your lovely wife involved, and she was killing it on commentary and shows. I mean, slating me. Yeah. On Fight Star, I remember her just tearing me a new one. Guys, I thought I owed your wife money or something. What have I done wrong? But you guys work tremendously.
That's the thing. We kind of give ourselves completely to it, don't we?
Yeah, but it doesn't matter.
We throw it all in.
It doesn't matter whether Dylan's on there as well, and whether if Jody was there as well, and it didn't matter how many of us were working and how many of us were doing that. My God, I just could not keep up. So it got to the point where it's like, I need to pick a few. And obviously there's a couple of obvious choices there that I'm going to stay with. 2 of those are a big obvious choice where it was Reach and UPW. They're 2 huge obvious choices of where I was going to stay. The rest of them is like, right, okay. It was slowly... Right, okay, I'll have to give.
You've commentated with quite a few wrestlers as well. Like you've commentated with Jace before, Blake. You've commentated with Reeves. You've commentated with a few of these guys as well.
Yeah, I mean, and not just that either as well. But like, there are people that are getting signed to like NXT UK.
Yeah,
and I'm like, do you know what? And one of them, I think,
we worked with them a couple of
as well. One of the new females for NXT UK, and I'm like, do you know what? I commentated her debut match, and I've got it on my computer.
How mad is that? If you think of it like this way, like if we put all the showmanship stuff aside, the concept that we are involved in a very, very tiny way into a business that we're fans of and that we love, and we've been able to stand there and commentate these people's matches. We've been able to watch them perform. These guys that are going into NXT, these guys that are, there's people that I've shared a locker room with. That has been an absolute blessing.
I mean, I sit down with my children and it's the same. And my youngest, Roman, and he's always asking me, and I turn around and go, "Yeah, I've worked with him." And then I worked with Cody Rhodes, and I worked with Matt Riddle. And
I always love it when
what? And he's showing him the pictures, and he loves it. But it's crazy when you think back at it. And
I always love when the Royal Rumble comes around, because normally me and my brother watch the Royal Rumble together, and every time someone that comes out that I know or I've worked with, I go, "Oh yeah, did a show with that guy? I wrestle with that dude?" My head gets even bigger than it is, and I'm like, "Oh yeah, that guy? You remember Carlito? Yeah, did a whole weekend with shows of that guy." And it would just continue that. The poor bugger. I think
we've all got those claim to fames, haven't we?
Yeah, but what a blessing though. It's cool though. It's fun, isn't it?
Oh,
I mean,
we are lucky.
Dave, you'll get that when James gets older.
Yes, hopefully. Yeah. In the making of a future heavyweight champ.
Yeah, my son's gotten into wrestling a little bit. His mum doesn't really like him liking wrestling or watching wrestling. So there's this kind of agreement that I go, yeah. No, I won't allow him to watch wrestling. You must be mad.
Yeah.
Whoops.
It was just on in the background.
Yeah, and he's like, "Daddy, can we watch a bit of wrestling?" I'm like, "I don't know. I don't think your mum would like it." All right, let's put it on. And he's got like a little PlayStation 2. So I bought him SmackDown Shut Your Mouth and stuff because it was a great game, and he loves all that stuff. He knows. It's kind of a little cool thing, and he's like, "Oh, Daddy, you do this." But they've not watched me too many times. They've only seen me, I think, a couple of times, and they were a bit younger at the time. So it was all good and well when Daddy was winning, but when Daddy was getting beaten up, they didn't like it very much.
I see. Roman's watched all the Unit 10s.
Has he?
Yeah, he watches everything as well. I'm not allowed to watch anything without him. So I'm
Who's
not
his
allowed to watch
WWE,
or AEW or Impact or anything without him. So
who's his favorite Unit 10 guy and gal?
Well, I am.
Well,
actually, it probably turn around and tell you Dave is actually.
When we came around and did commentary, when we could, he wanted me to wear the eye patch.
Brilliant.
I'm like, but we're not being filmed. It's like, you got to wear the eye patch. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of your trademark, isn't it? It's your thing now. You kind of have to have the eye patch, even if you decided one show. I don't want to. You kind of have to now. It's like the Peaky hat. I can't really do a show now without it because, it's kind of the character. It's part of it now. My Peaky Blinders rip-off. As it's been called.
I like that look. I wear those hats.
Oh, I love that. Yeah. It was, the hat sort of. I was never really a hat person when I was younger, but when the character required a shake up and a change, and then Peaky Blinders was obviously a complete inspiration.
I personally think it was a good way to go.
Yeah, it was good. And I get a lot of people, I remember the UK Dominator backstage, and he's like, "Wish I thought of that. Wish I'd done that." And he's like, I want to be a part of your group back when I was with the Monsters of Men. He's like, "I want to be part of your group. I want to be one of these guys." And I'm like, "Why? You've been doing this 20, almost 30 years, But, it's a gimmick. It's fun. It's a definite bad guy look. And, and it gives other people the opportunity to take the piss a little bit. Do you mean the amount of boys and girls that I've been in, like lads that I've been in feuds with, and they use that, and it's fun. It's fine. Like, I think Joey Seven calling it a hat of a back alley bookmakers or something, or something to that effect. And even that made me chuckle. And, it just gives people an opportunity to take a mick on me a little bit. It's good fun.
Actually, I wanted to ask you a bit of a question, really, because, we've all got our kind of our roles to play in the business. And, managers have always been interesting to me. As a kid, obviously, you had Bobby the Brain and, you had Slick and you had Mr. Fuji and stuff like that. It's just really a niche role that can add so much to a wrestler, can't it? And I wanted to kind of ask you a bit about your experience of management, and I thought you've done a great job with the Monsters of Men and putting them over, being the mouthpiece and being the driving force. What have you enjoyed about being a manager, and what do you what managers have inspired you, maybe?
Well, the opportunity came about because it was a bit of I pigeonholed myself into a corner because I had a lot of other things going on, and I was busy, and I generally was. And as much as I love wrestling and love this business, I couldn't dedicate my time, and there was no way that I was going to be taking ring time away from people that were training every week, and I couldn't be there every week. That's not fair. That's not right. So when the opportunity came around, Jace, he wanted me to manage Redwood and Silverback, and it was just Redwood at the time when we originally spoke about it. It was just going to be managing Redwood. I said we need to get Silverback because I knew Silverback from LEP in those days. I said if we're going to do it, let's get him and let's make it a faction. Let's make it a big, like they're big bastards. And I mean, he went along with it and got Silverback involved, and we did that. And I was a little bit on the fence, but I've also always loved dipping my toes in the water and putting my hands in all these pies. I think the best thing you can do if you're in this sort of business is know how to do lots of things in it. If you can wrestle, great.
Be flexible.
Exactly, yeah. And if you can wrestle, great. But if you can referee as well on a show that's needed, referee. If you can commentate, good. Get on the microphone. Do you see what I mean? Like you become more, not valuable. That sounds almost big-headed. But you're more useful. Not into one bracket. Yeah, you can be told to go and do something, and they can have faith in you that you do it. So when the opportunity came around to manage those guys, I just took it in my stride. I knew who they were. I knew who my character was. I mean, I'd love to be Bobby the Brain Heenan. Obviously, of course he's one of those guys. For me,
pinnacle.
For me, it's always Paul Heyman. It's always Paul Heyman because that guy could put me to sleep with how much of a genius he is with a microphone. He has such power. And it's beautiful when he speaks. And you got to remember, this is a dude that is not a wrestler, doesn't remotely look like a wrestler, but he is far more entertaining than the person that he's managing or advocating. I'm like, I don't care if that Brock Lesnar's there. I want to see Brock Lesnar hit someone with their 5. That's great. I don't want him to talk. I want Paul Heyman to talk because Paul Heyman is the one selling the story. And he is the one making Brock Lesnar an even bigger threat. And I generally, as much as, these likes of Lesnar and all these sort of people are absolute machines and they have it in their own right. Someone like Heyman just skyrockets because they know what they're doing. There's the tricks that I learned and the little things. You never put your opponent down. You have to keep your opponent up there with the person that you're managing. Because if you were just basically saying, my guy's the best and you're a piece of shit, who wants to watch that? No one wants to watch that. If you can recognize actually that the guy that is going up against your client or the person you're managing is actually a dangerous man or dangerous woman, and they are very much capable of taking that championship or pinning you 1, 2, 3, but my faith is always just slightly higher in the person I'm managing, then you've got a dynamic. Do you know what I mean? And you're putting 2 people over instead of just one.
Yeah.
So Paul Heyman for me is absolutely someone that I am inspired by. You know the story where he sits there and tells the WrestleMania 30 story. You remember, when he says about was it really a storyline or was it a shoot? Did Brock Lesnar just decide, fuck it, I'm going to take it from him? And you kind of think, for a fact, of course it was a story. Vince would never have allowed that to happen.
Of course
but
not.
The way he says it, you almost think, maybe he's fucking right. Maybe he did. Maybe Lesnar did just say, fuck it, I'm going to take it out of him. Maybe. Because Paul Heyman did that story work. And Lesnar wasn't even there. But I believed for a short period of time, Lesnar shooted on Taker and went, no, fuck you.
Yeah, but it could have been a cover-up.
Could have been. You never know. You don't know.
Covered it up because they don't want it to get out. I mean, you never know. You never know what they cover up.
I had a great time managing Redwood and Silverback. I wish they would come back. Obviously, they sort of disappeared for a little while. And obviously this is. I mean, kayfabe anymore. Kayfabe's a bit of a dubious thing these days, but they're great lads.
Yeah,
and monstrous looking dudes. I mean, the whole name. And when they choke slam me, and my God,
up and down you went.
Oh, it was awful. It was horrible. It hurt. Silverback does not drop you. He makes sure that you go through that ring. And after the first one, I was laying there like, oh, this sucks. And then it was pick me up and let's do it again. And I was like, I don't even want to do this. But why not?
You're
Just
just
do
along
it.
for the ride.
Yeah, it sucked ass. But I love managing. I love to do it again. And obviously I'm doing it now with Drake Virus. But obviously things have been stunted because of the show aspect and stuff. But
a guy that you've teamed with before as well.
We used to be. Well, we were tag champs.
Yeah,
together.
I was going to say you were, weren't you?
Yeah, briefly. It was a very brief spell, but it was me, him, and the UK Dominator.
I was going to say, yeah, that was it. Dom was involved. Yeah,
he was
Who
basically
was that for?
That was People's Republic of Wrestling.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and we came in and did obviously through Dom. Dom was the manager of that little team, and the opportunity came around to be involved in that show. I can't remember how it came about now. I think again it was probably through Dom, because if you're loyal and good with Dom and you work hard and you train hard, he will help you kick some doors down, and he will put you in people's faces and go, watch my guy, see what you can do. And I think that was again one of those situations. And we turned up, we did the show, and they needed the two heels, two good heels to do it. And obviously Drake is an absolute tank if you look at him. So that obviously came about, and that was that. It was short lived, but it was good fun for what it was. And then now it's kind of come full circle, and he's a big dude. He's going to turn some heads.
Yeah, I mean, it should be interesting. I mean, it gives you, just gives you a good story, doesn't it? It gives you a good dynamic. It gives you good look on your character.
Yeah, I mean, the concept that it was going to be, obviously I'd been back doing training and stuff, and it's to get back in the ring. But then with the options that this guy was needed, like he needed someone. Boom, I was like, yeah, I'll do it. Screw that. Yeah, I'll do it, because it's good fun. And, he's going to do that hard work, and, he has done the hard work. So, yeah, I love managing. I do enjoy it. Like I said, the most pies you can keep your fingers in, the better you're going to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's just a bit of a rarity these days, though, isn't it? In Brit Rest.
Yeah, I think it's lost.
Having managers. Yeah.
You don't see it very much, especially indie style. You don't see it a lot.
I remember, I was talking to Carl on here last week about my, because I'm really old, the early 80s when I was going to shows. I remember like Princess Paula, who was the ballet kind of manager for Finley, and the way, just the looks. She never really said much, but just the looks. And she used to kiss him when he was doing well, and just those little. And Gorgeous George, who used to manage Kendo Nagasaki, he was the talker, obviously, and just such a different kind of character, but obviously put him over so much more, and kind of tells that story. And like the psychology of the manager and the role of the manager is quite rare in Brit Wrestling these days, isn't it?
I think it's rare in all types of wrestling. You don't really see many managers these days, like on TV or indie shows or anything. And people just go, well, some people go, well, it's not hard work, is it? They're just turning up and they're going to cut a promo and they're going to stand at the ringside. No, there is hard work involved, because you have a job to do. And you look at some of the ones over the years, especially the ones that are televised and the people that I mean, holy hell, look what they've done. Do you know what I mean? Male or female.
some of the guys, like from my era, it was like, Sensational Sherry.
Yeah, right. Right. And how good
Mr. Fuji was what, and I loved Mr. Fuji, no matter how much everybody hated Yokozuna at the time.
And who was
Mr. Fuji was like, yeah, I love that guy, man. He was great.
What was Nancy Benoit's manager name? What was her ring name? What was that again?
Geez.
Precious or something like that?
No, I don't think so. But she was brilliant at what she did. If you ever watched the stuff that she did, she had it. She knew what she was doing. I can't, for the life of me, remember.
Oh.
No, I mean there's been tons of great managers over the time as well. So, I mean, and like you said, it is a lost thing as well, isn't it? It isn't done.
I'd like to see more people be willing to do it as well. I think people, especially if they're coming up in the business on the training or whatever, they're a year or so in, and they want to wrestle. Obviously, they want to be on shows. They want to be performing. Of course, they do. But kind of like, but managing's a bit of a setback role. Oh, like it's a bit. It's like, no, man. Think about what you can do. Think about the opportunities that you can have standing beside someone that's going to do what he's going to be the one to get hurt. You ain't getting hurt. Think of it like that. You're getting paid to not get hurt. Brilliant. But you're doing a job and you're getting that person over. And once you can sort of brush past that sort of selfishness / ego or whatever, you'll be fine, man. You look at, for instance, look at Josh Knott, for instance. He's not a manager, but he's come in and, he's got years of experience. He's been doing this longer than I have. And he's coming to Unit 10 and now he's tag champs with LA Taylor. And, he could have theoretically gone, nah, I'm above this. I don't need to do this. But he doesn't, man. He's just, there's no ego. And he comes in and he kills it. And him and LA Taylor are a very surprisingly fantastic looking team.
Oh my God, they are
yes.
just like
and they do so well.
Unreal, to be honest. As we've got a few minutes before the time cuts out on our first meeting, we'll stay on the subject for a minute. Did you watch this year's Royal Rumble?
I did. Yeah, I did watch this year's Royal. I stayed up actually and watched it live.
Oh, did you? Oh no, I can't. I can't. I'm not allowed to do that anyway. I was going to do that, and that's not even my.
Come on, Jody, let the man watch the Royal Rumble
or anything. That's Roman telling me I'm not allowed to stay up and watch it. I have to watch it with him. So yeah, I had to watch it on Monday.
Yeah, keep the boy up one night and let him watch it. I only watch the main ones, like if the card is good, like Rumble, Mania, Survivor Series, SummerSlam. They're the only ones I actually watch. When it's happening. 9 times out of 10, I will watch it in the morning. But if the card's really crap, I don't even bother with that.
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a weird. It's in a weird place at the minute.
I always make sure we watch pay-per-views, regardless. We watch AEW each week, and we watch Impact each week because at the moment, like the crossover at the moment, I think is great, and he's loving it as well.
But that's proof to
SmackDown. Occasionally, we might just catch YouTube highlights.
Why not? Well, I tell you what, that situation, for instance, it's proof enough what two companies can do if they work together instead of going, I'm going to be better than you, and we're going to get better ratings, and why not just mix it? No. See what happens, and look what happens. You're now watching two brands, two products, because of what they're doing. If more people did that independently, think how many eyes you could get on your product.
You can thank Kenny Omega, because Kenny Omega is the guy that's turned around and gone, this is what needs to happen, and not just like independent companies or anything, because that happens all the time. No offense, even though we work for some of them. We do have crossovers, and we have been involved in crossovers. I have in the past. But ones like this on a TV scale,
it's magic, isn't it?
It's unknown.
Yeah.
And it's really making nothing.
Kenny Omega was over here recently. Well, no, not recently. This was a number of years ago, but he was over here.
It was only a couple of years ago.
He did a show for Pro Wrestling Pride,
Yeah, I think it was like 2017. I think he was over here, something like that.
Yeah, something like that. He was over here doing Pro Wrestling Prize days and did some shows. Say what you want about the company, but they brought in some incredible names.
Yeah, well, like I said, I worked with Cody Rhodes in the past, and and
I almost got to work a show with Cody Rhodes. Almost. Almost.
Did you miss your lift?
No. No, there was that's a controversial story. It's quite a fun story to look back on now. It's not.
Oh, look, come on. You've teased us now. Come on.
If you're going to go over 4 minutes, don't bother, because I might as well just cut the time now, and we'll be back after the break.
So, the story with Cody Rhodes and almost working a show with Cody Rhodes is when he was first released from WWE, and he was like the hottest new guy out there for free agent, that people were trying to book him left, right, and center. And I was working for a company, I won't name names, The company's not sort of running at the moment, but I won't name names out of respect. And they wanted to book him. And
did they have the money to book him?
he was expensive at the time. He was expensive.
Yeah,
and
he was.
He was, and the promoters really wanted him involved. They really wanted him on the show, and it was a great opportunity for people like myself and other people. And we sort of all clamored together to pay for him, basically. And I put in money as well, a few £100 to get him down on the show, which was paid back to me. That was never any problem. And yeah, he was booked. And then another company started putting out posters saying that he was on their show on that night,
right?
Which was not true. So the promoters of the original company contacted Cody Rhodes' agent and said, dude, what's going on? And they said, we've never heard of this promoter. We've never heard of this company before. So it's complete fabrication. He is working your show. So in almost a kindness, because of my contribution to Cody Rhodes being on the show, I was greenlit an opportunity to perform. And not saying that, you should ever sort of, buy your way in or get an easy route in, but I was given an opportunity to showcase what I could do. And a few scenarios were thrown at me and they were great. And I was just like, hey, I'll do whatever you want me to do. This is great. And then a week or two later, I got a message telling me I was unbooked from the show, as well as a few other names that you know of, like Jason King, etc., like that. And we were all unbooked. And I said, well, why? What do you mean we're unbooked? You gave us this booking and why? And it was because they wanted, obviously they had the likes of Cody Rhodes on there. They wanted to get the best talent around at the time, which is understandable. Obviously, of course you want that. And they didn't want any new guys coming in, because I think I was probably around about 2 years into it. So they didn't really want any new guys involved. So obviously at the time I was pissed off, because I was like, you got to be shitting me. Like, you've offered me this opportunity. I've literally helped contribute financially to Cody being on this show. That would have been an incredible learning experience for me, but it is what it is. And there was a circle of us having a conversation about this after another show, and somebody was stood with us. And again, I won't say names, but somebody was stood with us, and it was one of those people that don't talk in front of that person, because whatever says will be blown up to 10,000 and it will go back and it will be a complete nightmare. So a lot of us kept our mouth shut, other people didn't. And the next day, lo and behold, said promoters contacted me and said that they were aware of the conversation. They were understood. They were aware that we were upset about the loss of the booking and the opportunity and stuff. And we said, of course we are. We're hungry young students of the game. Of course we're upset, but it is what it is. Business is business. And then we were rebooked. And the opportunity again came around to work that show, and it was great. And we were given our stories and angles, and it was going to be a great show. And then because at the time the company was actually running the show in coherence with another company from around said area, so they were actually joining together to put on a joint show, because I suppose it made more sense financially or whatever. They were going to make a big show. It was going to be hosted down here in Plymouth, and it was going to be a big show. The other company pulled out. They eventually, the working relationship wasn't working, so they pulled out of the situation, and that kind of left the other company in a bit of a financial pickle. And then the show was cancelled, and that was it. And no more will come of it. But on the same night, Pro Wrestling Pride were doing a show in Plymouth. And that was the night they had Scott Hall and Adam Rose and a few others. And I turned up to that show with John Harding, and I got onto the show as a rosebud for Adam Rose. I turned up in my suit.
Oh,
and,
yeah.
Mhm.
There's that picture.
There's the picture of me in the very, very tight, small children's Rey Mysterio mask because the promoter said, "Do you want to be a Rosebud for Adam Rose?" And I went, "Well, of course, I'd love that."
Yeah.
But he said, "Oh yeah, hang on, but people might know who you are." I'm like, "Well, they're not going to know who I am because no, but like the odd wrestling fan around here might recognize you, and it sort of just makes it look a bit crap." So I know, all right, well, what do you want me to do? Like, this is literally all I've come in. Because I was stupid enough to not bring any gear because I thought, well, I wouldn't be wrestling because I'm a dumbass. And yeah, I was sent to the merch table and I was given a Rey Mysterio mask and some odd clothes backstage. And if you actually watch, there is footage. You can see Drake Virus is in that collection. Bobby Tyler is in that collection. Bobby Tyler was there. Grayson Reeves is actually a Rosebud that night as well.
Yeah.
So there was a load of us, and we were backstage with Scott Hall and Adam Rose and a few others. And you kind of got to think, yeah, we lost an opportunity to work with Cody Rhodes, or I lost that because I was the only one out of that selection of people that were there at Pride that night. But you kind of think, yeah, that sucks big time. But I'm also sharing the locker room with Scott Hall and Adam Rose, and it was that was an absolutely incredible experience. So yeah, that was that story. It was very close. I think it was about a day or two before. It was literally a couple of days before the show that we found out that we weren't going to be working the show with Cody. And I know he obviously did UPW with you guys or something, didn't he? Was it UPW?
Oh my God!
Cody.
Oh yeah. Oh okay.
Cody.
Yeah. That's right. He did. Yeah, because he did.
God, you had me panicking.
We did 2 shows. Yeah, we did 2 shows back to back. Jesus Christ, that killed me. I didn't even do commentary then. I was just sound technician and a music monkey.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Which is what I still do now.
You still do that as well, yeah.
Yeah, in some sort of way, I still do that for Rich. Yeah, but that's what I did. That's what I did then. Yeah. And actually, the second night I worked with Cody. I worked the oh my God, the meet and greet line.
Q&A was it?
Yeah, no, the meet and greet line I worked, and I was at the end. So I was stood there with Matt Riddle, sat at one table, and Cody Rhodes sat on the other table, stood there waiting for the queue of people to come in. And the conversation them two were having was just unreal. But I mean, you look at
absolutely insane when you think about it, like these sort of people.
And you look at where those two are now as well, and it's just like, yeah, I couldn't believe that. I mean, that was
2017,
16,
was
17?
it? 17, yeah, 2017 it was, yeah.
It's kind of strange because like I said earlier on about the Royal Rumble thing, and it's one of those things that people will say certain things about Pro Wrestling Pride, and in some ways they're absolutely correct, and it is what it is. I have my opinions, but I'll bite my tongue a little bit. But the people that I got to share locker rooms with was phenomenal. Do you know what I mean? I got to tag with Doug Williams. That's a career highlight, and we tagged up against Eddie Ryan and Eddie Dennis, who's obviously now an NXT guy. Carlito was on the show. I did a weekend of shows with Carlito. Grado. I actually was at the merch desk taking Grado's money, and then random wrestling fans from the Southwest would come over and they were like, "Will you sign my poster?" And I'm like, "What? You got Grado there? What are you talking about me for?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, but we know, whatever." So it was humbling. You could just see Grado going, "Who the fuck is this fat little shit?" But the old 102. But you think, Christ, all these people. I tagged with Joel Redman on the show. I mean, we're supposed to have Mickey James's wife down. There was supposed to be a promo there between me and him, which I'm thank fuck that never happened. Yeah, because that would have been a real kick in the balls. That would have. I was asked to do a promo towards her husband, and thank God I didn't, because he didn't actually end up turning up to the show in the end. Praise the Lord. But yeah, I mean, for a young guy, I mean, it was probably better at that point than it is now for the young guys and girls coming through now, because there's not that many companies around. At the time, when I started off, you had, you know, you had a good handful. You know, you had DWA, PWA, Pride, LEP, CPW, you know, and all these other ones. So, and Pride being kind of the big company you wanted to work for because it had the biggest crowds and had the biggest names that came in. You know, so that was for me was incredible. In my early start, which is a shame really, because these other guys don't get that opportunity, but they're still fucking killing it though. They are still just they're stepping all over me and that lot they came through, that class of performers. I don't really use wrestlers. I think I do some form of wrestling, but I'm not a wrestler. I'm a performer. I'm an entertainer.
Yeah, because I mean, because aside of wrestling, I mean, you act as well, don't you? You're an actor.
Yeah, I am an actor. Yeah, it's and I think that's probably why the only reason I continue to get bookings, I think, is because of my ability to play a character and play a role and do the job, and I love it. It is the biggest passion of mine. Is acting. You know, I've got a degree in it. I'm studying a master's in it currently. And I love playing those people that aren't quite like me. Yes, when I go out there as Vinnie Clay, it's kind of, do you know what? It's very much like, and I really understood it. I watched AJ Styles' WWE Untold thing the other day. Have you guys seen that?
No, do you know what? I was actually going to watch something tonight, so cheers. I'll watch that tonight.
You go watch that. He basically talks about his Royal Rumble debut and stuff. And one of the questions was, who is AJ Styles? And it's a question that all wrestlers get asked. Who is such and such? Who is Vinnie Clay? And a lot of wrestlers will go, or performers will go, oh, I don't really know. I don't know. It's kind of me. And AJ Styles had the best answer. He said, both versions of me, whether it's heel AJ Styles or babyface AJ Styles, they're both me. They're just, you know, babyface me is me vamped up to 11. Heel me is the me that would love to be able to say and do all the things that sometimes every human being wants to say and do. And that gives him that opportunity. So for me, it's the same. When I'm a face, it's me vamped up to 11. When I'm a heel, it allows me to be free and be a ruthless bastard. You know what I mean? And that's why, you know, as an actor,
I'll tell you what,
freedom.
Believable. I mean, on comms when you start digging into me and the back of my neck starts going red. I'm thinking, oh, you're lucky. You're lucky. There's people around, you know. And I'm like, he's doing his job here. You know what I mean? It's just step aside because it gets that real. But it's completely in character.
I very rarely will do any type of performance more than once at a time. Like if I cut a promo, max amount of times I'm going to film that promo will be 3 or 4, because the first or second time is always going to be the best ones because it's the most natural. It's the most, you know, once you get to the third or fourth time, you're just then repeating what you've said, and it's not authentic. And it's the same with promo. Like it's the same with doing monologues or performing on stage. You know that you can only do that a few times before you are then repeating what you're doing, and it's not authentic. Everything that I do in the ring, when it comes down to the performance side in the ring, when it comes to character or promo, or like if I'm talking shit at someone, whether there is in the crowd or it's all it's there, it just comes out. Sometimes I think one time I wrestled with Cameron and I dragged him in front of his mum and dad, and I was screaming at his mum because his mum was screaming at me, and I'm there going, go on, hit me, and I'm there punching her son in the face. You know, that's great fun because his family fucking hate me. They literally despise me. But though it just came out because it was natural and it was authentic. If I had planned that, it probably would have looked a bit shit and no one would really have cared. You know, so as an actor and as a performer, you know, that freedom is incredible.
So what kind of stuff were you doing before we fell into this, you know, pandemic and lockdown and the new world that we live in today? What were you doing before that?
Yeah, well, obviously I was doing my degree.
Yeah.
And I had been cast in a play called On the Shore of the Wide World, which is a fantastic play, and by an author called Simon Stevens. And so I was going to be performing at the Drum in Theatre Royal, and was going to be playing a it was blind casted, so I was playing an alcoholic grandfather who wasn't very nice. Yeah,
Out of character, totally out of character.
completely out of character. You know, I've never had a drink a day in my life. TNR. We won't talk about that.
Can't remember that.
but, yeah.
Can't remember that.
We don't talk about that. I'm glad you remember. Yeah. So I was playing a character called Charlie in that play, which was again great fun because it was kind of no character is evil. That's the thing. Is no. You can't ever go into Vinnie Clay doesn't believe what he's doing is evil and bad. He believes what he's doing is good. It's good for him. It's good for what he wants to achieve. You know.
Yeah.
How someone else interprets them is if they're then considered a bad guy. You know. So. And that's the same as Charlie, that character in On the Shore could have been considered quite a nasty person. However, you can't go into playing that character like that, in my opinion. I actually really sympathise with him. You know, I thought it was really sad. So I was doing that play, and I then got cast in. Well, no, I did a radio drama with John Nettles, who was the guy from Midsummer Murder. Bergerac.
Yay!
He was my director. He also starred in it. I did a radio drama about the Mayflower, which was a BBC production, which was quite exciting. But I've met John Nettles twice. I met him back in school because he actually used to go to the same school I did, and he turned up to the school one day to do like an award ceremony for like all sorts of random things. And I got the one for drama. I was the only one to get an award for drama and acting. And he almost ripped my arm off with a handshake. And he spoke to me at the end, and he gave me advice about places to go when I was old enough to go to like drama schools and stuff. And that was 2007, 2008. And then, you know, like a year or so ago, I think it was like, when did we do it? January of 2020. And then he was my director and sort of co-star. And I did go up to him after about the third day. I went, I don't know if you remember, but we have met before, and told him, and he did remember. But yeah, so I was doing that. And then I got cast as well to do a show on the lyric stage of the Theatre Royal, which is the big main one. And it was a play about the whole Mayflower thing, as it was celebrating like 400 years, whatever it was. However, but because of this goddamn pandemic, all shows were cancelled. Well, one show was cancelled. The other one might still be happening, which is the big one. Spoiler alert. So that might still be happening, which for me is, you know, I grew up in the Southwest. The biggest theatre you have around here is the Theatre Royal, and I've been to the Theatre Royal many times. And you know, when you sit there, like I do at a wrestling show, if I sit at a wrestling show and I'm like, when I'm commentating with you guys, I love commentating, but there's that voice in my head that goes, oh, I wish I was in the ring. I wish I was doing it.
Yeah.
So you see what I mean? And then so when I'm at the theatre and I'm watching people on stage and watching a performance, I have that same voice that goes, I wish he was on the stage and doing it. And I've had that for years. The first time I went there was 2006 or so with a school trip to watch Guys and Dolls with Bonnie Langford in. And I always wanted to perform on that stage. And I had the opportunity. I was cast in a show that was going to be on that stage and rehearsed and stuff. And then, due to the pandemic, unfortunately, that didn't happen last year. But it may still, so fingers crossed.
Yeah, I mean, I know what you mean when you say when you go watch a play or something like that, or when you're sat in the crowd when you're at a wrestling show or whatever, and you got that itchy fingers. I had it really weird. I don't actually get it so bad nowadays if I was to go to wrestling, but when I was in the band, when I was younger and I was in the band and I did music for 15 years, I hated going to gigs. I hated going to gigs. And I was just stood there thinking, I need to go home. I can't stand here and watch this band, because all I wanted to do was get up there and perform as well, because that's what I did at the time.
I'm making a mental note of all questions I want to ask you on me and Jason's podcast. That's why I want to come on, because it's all about performance.
Because it's all about performance, and
and
that's what I've grown up with, and that's what I did for 15 years, way before I even blinked at trying the wrestling business.
Go on. I'll ask you one that I'll ask you on the podcast. What was your music like? What was your inspiration music wise?
I played punk rock. I was a singer.
Give me an example for punk rock, because No idea.
Okay, so very similar to like the Ramones, or we had we did stuff like that, and we also did stuff like along the lines of like Green Day and Blink-182 and stuff like that.
Oh God, that takes me back.
Yeah, that was the kind of man. I will send you some pictures.
Loud and angry.
Yeah, I'll send
I
you
was
some
going to
pictures.
ask you, Cole.
Go on.
Sorry, Cole. Just to, you know, when you're talking about being at a gig.
Yeah.
Are you listening to it like the technical performance about, you know, how they're playing their instruments? Because sometimes I get it when I'm watching wrestling and I'm listening to the commentators and I'm thinking about, well, I would have said it like this, or I would have done it, and you kind of look at it a little bit different now. You're kind of in the business. Do you get that?
I get it from both parts.
Yeah.
So if it's bad, I'm there thinking I get really arsey about it, and you know you can ask Jody, and I'll get arsey about it, and I'll be like, I could do so much of a better job than he could, you know, or you know, I've been watching wrestling on Showcase. If you try and watch Showcase on Sky or Freeview or whatever, and I was watching some OVW or some PCW, and I was like, oh my God, your camera angles are shit. Or your camera quality is bad, you know, and I'm thinking, oh my God, I could do so much of a better job. And it was the same. It was the same with music, but also it's the same the other way around. When I hear good as well, same with commentary or with music, and I hear it and it's really good, and that gets my blood pumping, as in, oh God, you know, that gets me inspired, you know, to get in there and do it.
Yeah, it's the same. Like when we commentate together, you know, the commentator that always pops in my head is Jim Ross. You know, well, him and Jerry the King Lawler, because I grew up in that era. I grew up in the 90s, and for me, Jim Ross is the best commentator on the fucking planet. You know, and so that excitement, because it brought you in. So that's like when we're commentating together, that's that little thing. I always think of Jim Ross, and that makes me want to commentate to a level that if someone's listening, they're going to get excited and hyped up because I'm getting hyped up. And wrestling and acting is very different. Wrestling and theatre is very different in that aspect because, I mean, Dave pretty much said it word for word. When once you start to learn, you know, you get into the business and you're doing the training, you learn things and you start to pick up. So you watch a wrestling match and you're like, oh, didn't bump that well, or that looked like a botch, or this happened, or you shouldn't have done that, you know, and you start picking it apart instead of actually just watching it. However, when you're watching a performance like acting, like in theatre or on TV, it's subjective. So you would only then criticize what you might do. You might go, I would say this line that way, or I would do that. However, what they've done isn't wrong. You know, if a wrestler botches a move and hurts someone, they've done something wrong. Something that's gone wrong somewhere down the line. But if you're watching an actor perform, it's subjective. So you get that, even though I get that little, like I'm a big Doctor Who fan. I've got no shame in it. I've got a Doctor Who glass with me now.
I'm only a Doctor Who fan because of my wife, and I've grown into being a Doctor Who fan because of her, and I love it now. It's fantastic.
I love it, but there's that part of me that watches the current stories and the current Doctor and the current, you know.
Yeah. We sit and watch it together, yeah.
And I'm a bit like, that's not really, you know, I wouldn't do that. Not because I wouldn't do that as a performer. I'm like, I wouldn't write that. I know the character because I've watched it so much and for so many years. I understand, I believe the character, which is why the Doctor is my dream role. So if the BBC do listen, then you know who to cast.
One day.
But you know, it's that thing. Those are the most I get annoyed because I'm like, I know this character, but as a fan, this doesn't feel right. That acting choice didn't make sense, or that writer's quick exit out of the storyline didn't work. It's bullshit, and I don't approve. But I will still tune in next week to watch the next episode because I'm that sad. Do you know what I mean?
No, I agree, and you know, and me and Jodie will sit down together and we'll watch it together as well, and then we'll criticize it and what have you. But we'll still watch it, you know, because you know that's the fanboy in you, isn't it?
This is a great show as well. Like it's a great show, and you know, I'm a very nerdy dude. You know, I'm actually wearing a Superman vest now, which, if you want a little Easter egg. I wore this vest on my very first ever training session, wrestling wise.
Oh, very nice.
It fits a little snugger than it did back then, but in different proportions. But yeah, that's my vest story.
your vest story.
Vest story. I wore this my first training session.
Very
That's
niche.
kind of where the story ends. Although the character that I developed then has never been performed by me, still to this day. No, we were given the I did the CPW boot camp, and I'd been to a Pride show beforehand, and I thought that they were the same company. Turns out I was wrong, and Chris Andrews was taken down the ring, and I shook his hand. And I said, "Thank you for a great show." I said, "I'm going to start training, and I'm going to perform in this ring." And he shook my hand and probably rolled his eyes in his head, and went, probably hears that all the time. And I went into the CPW training, and one of the things we had to do was cut a promo. And I thought, well, I'm going to do this as a bad guy, as a heel. Who's the best bad guy? And I thought the Joker. I thought the Joker's probably the best bad guy because it's a character that doesn't believe what he's doing is insane. He just does it. There's no motive. It's just fun to him. And I thought, oh, that's good. That's something to go with. So I did some random promos for like 2 days and just like talked bollocks basically. And Terry came over to me and said, "Are you serious about doing this?" I went, "Yeah, of course I am." And he said, "Well, if you start training, I'll eventually book you on shows." So I did. And obviously the rest is history. But I created this Joker-like character that was going to debut when I eventually got booked with CPW. However, the Vinnie Clay character took off when I started with LEP. And then that was it. The rest is history. That character that I originally came up with never came about, and no promoter ever had complete faith because they thought it would be too scary to use.
I mean, speaking of promos that you've cut, I mean, there was a promo that I'd never heard until Dave showed me. It was, and isn't it you cutting a promo on Jason?
Yeah.
Pointless videos.
My good God.
I love that video. I know I can do a good Jason King impression. So, because Jason has got such a way of talking, like he talks like this and everything is excitable and it's all in the back of his throat. And yeah, I think we were building for a match. So, I cut a promo and I thought at the time he was tagging with Adam Flint. And I just cut this promo. I didn't go out of my way to look like Jason. I just put on his voice and I had a little, my ex-girlfriend, or my girlfriend at the time, had a Cabbage Patch Kid doll.
Yeah.
So I laid that on the bed next to me, and that was Adam Flynn. And I just got this promo. It was probably, I don't know, about 5 minutes or so. It was probably a few minutes too long, but yeah, I put it out there, and it still makes me laugh, and like Jason still laughs about it because it's just the brilliant. Jason King voice.
I remember that. Where has this promo been all my life, honestly? And it was such an old video as well. How have I not seen it, honestly? But yeah, brilliant.
That was in our LEP days, I think. I think it was LEP day or a CPW day, one of the two.
Yeah, I think so.
Because that's when I sort of like when we had our feuds was kicking off, and I just cut this promo, and it was a one take thing. I had the idea with the Cabbage Patch Kid, and I was going to basically just rip him by doing his voice and saying the bollocks he says and and doing all that, and then just put it out there. I didn't ask the promoter's permission. I just posted it, as you do when you're starting off like 6 months in and you think you're cool. And yeah, Jason loved it, and it's just one of those things. Every time it comes around now, and our like memories, we always share it.
Yeah, is it? Question: Did you ever manage to get a PlayStation 5?
No, still not got a PlayStation 5 yet.
To all those people that are out there that do have one, and the one person that does have one, and he will be a guest on here soon, which will be PJ Jones.
Oh yeah,
I'm not happy with the fact that he had one.
I'm not happy he's got one either, the bastard. But he's a big gamer just like I am. So yeah, it's upsetting.
Did he win it as a prize?
No, he won an Xbox as a prize, though.
Yeah, he won an Xbox as a prize.
Yeah, he won an Xbox X Series. I was like, yeah, he really is a true winner there, isn't he?
Fucking brutal. Yeah, I did see you had the PS5. My Facebook has been flooded over the last 2 months with people who have PS5s, and I have to sit there kind of. I've always been out of time with like anything. I got the PS2 late, the PS3 late, the PS4 late.
Yeah, same
My
here.
PS4 is the same one I bought when it first came out. It's about 5-6 years old. It's still going just about, and I want that damn PS5 so bad, but we live in a lockdown COVID period. I can't afford it.
It's too difficult.
Damn PJ Jones for being able to get one.
It's too difficult to be able to, I mean, and if you can go out and you can get one, I mean, good for you, I'm not gonna.
They're not even in stock anymore.
Really,
you can't even buy one.
Got one.
Yeah,
but
you can't even buy one. It's not even in stock. Brutal.
It was a difficult time for it to come out.
Oh yeah,
I think
100%.
they could have held off a little bit longer.
No, it's kind of. I suppose is it kind of smart business wise because you knew there was people going to be at home doing nothing, so of course they were going to snap them up. But they've also landed themselves in a situation where they've gone, we haven't made enough PlayStations, but they've made a lot of money.
That's always the case, though. Every single time they build, it's never enough.
Yeah, I remember seeing the prototypes and like the footage that was coming out for the PS5 games. And I'm a big gamer. I do like to game. I know PJ does, and stuff like that. So yeah, I am really jealous.
Because I mean, you got into Spider-Man just like me, didn't you?
Oh, bro, mate, I grew up on Spider-Man. Spider-Man was the man. I used to grow up. We're at school before you went to school. There was Fox Kids. At the time when it got to a period where we could afford a bit of Sky. You had Fox Kids, you had Hulk, you had X-Men, you had Spider-Man. And it was the Spider-Man series that I will to this day defend and say it was the best Spider-Man cartoon.
Well, the original cartoon, yeah?
Yeah.
I got those on DVD.
In the 90s. Yeah. What, the 94 animated Spider-Man?
Yeah. I got a couple of those on DVD.
I've got a few of them. I don't think you can get the box set, can you?
I don't know.
Well, they're all on Disney Plus, so that made me really happy.
Yeah.
But I grew up with that, and I still believe it's the best Spider-Man cartoon ever. So I grew up on that, and then the PlayStation 1 games, and then, I've just always loved, the Tobey Maguire films. And do you think, Carl and Dave, there is a generation now that weren't alive when Tobey Maguire Spider-Man films came out? They think Andrew Garfield was the original Spider-Man or Tom Holland was the original Spider-Man. Can you imagine?
Yeah, but do you like those first Spider-Man films? I
do.
They're okay, but I don't know. I'm not a Tobey Maguire fan.
It was a different time. Like you didn't have an MCU then. And like now you do, and you can compare it. The one thing I don't like about the new Spider-Man stuff is that the suit isn't real. It's CGI. I'm like that. No, I want a real Spider-Man suit. That's the whole point.
I thought Tom Holland wore a Spider-Man suit at times.
Well, he did on some occasions, but like the Iron Spider suit and everything, it's all CGI. And I'm
yeah, of course. Yeah.
I don't like that. Like, I like the original suit. Tobey Maguire was probably a fantastic Peter Parker, but not a great Spider-Man. Andrew Garfield was a fantastic Spider-Man, but not a great Peter Parker. And Tom Holland has a nice blend of both.
Well, we'll see what happens when they combined all three together.
Let's hope that is the case.
And let's hope it it works out quite well, because you've been watching WandaVision as well?
I haven't actually watched any of that yet. No, I haven't.
In any advice, if any Marvel fans out there that haven't watched it, I'd let it build, then go and watch it. Is it
one of those, like, you've got to take a few episodes to get into? Or...
No, because it's going to have a really, really good story. So you've got to realize that the first couple of episodes is going to be a bit. This is.
Does other Avengers come into it, or do we see any other Avengers?
I'm not gonna be the spoiler. I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna make my name a name for myself there of being a spoiler. I'm not going to say that.
Carl's podcast is cancelled. No one ever tunes in again.
Carl's part. Yeah, the podcast for spoilers. No, but what I will say is it is very good. It's going to head in a very good direction. It's just that if you haven't watched it, I'd let it build. Maybe let the series finish.
How many episodes in is it? How many episodes in is it?
I reckon it's gonna. Well, I think no. Well, it's on episode 5 is tomorrow.
Oh, okay.
So I think it's
So I
only
remember,
going
like, I
to
remember-
8 or 10. I think per series.
So I remember the other ones. I remember Daredevil being quite good, and The Punisher was good. But I got bored with Luke Cage, and I got bored with Jessica Jones. Like I got bored with those shows. I can't believe you don't like the Tobey Maguire films, man. I'm still like I
I've got no
rewatched
problem with
them
the actual
about a month
film
or
in
two ago.
itself. There's little bits. Now I know that that stories need thinking, tweaking and what have you, and Spider bit him and he had the web and what have you, and it's like no, you're supposed to build it. That was what
Yeah, he's supposed to build the web
did.
shooter.
There was little
Well,
bit.
you
But
say
Tobey
that,
Maguire in
however,
himself, he's just not the actor for me. It wasn't necessarily the film; it was just more the actor.
now you say that, and obviously, the comics and everything else, the original story, he builds the web shooters. It's it's not natural like it is. However, Tobey Maguire did say in an interview, and I kind of actually really agree. The reason that they made the web inorganic in the original trilogy was because they thought if Peter Parker was smart and intelligent enough to create a device like that, why was he poor and taking pictures for the Daily Bugle? Like, surely he could be a rich scientist making devices like that all the time.
Well,
so I was
true.
like, oh, that kind of does make sense. If he had the ability to make a web shooter that could, why was he poor? So he kind of like, I don't know. You're arguing the toss about the mythology of this series, but you kind of.
I need to come back and have an argument with you. Well, not even an argument with you. I need to come back and have a discussion with you on superheroes because, I could sit here for hours talking about.
Oh man, we'll be here for 3, 4, 5 hours. Yeah, it'd be awful. We'll be in a drunk stupor by that point, just passed out because it would just gotten too far. Jodie would have left you. I'd be alone. Dave would have retired. It'd be awful.
Dear. Clay, thank you for joining on the show.
Oh, mate, I've loved it. Yeah, it's always a pleasure to be with you, Per. You know that.
It's been nice to go over the stories, over the past. The good times, yeah.
A lot of wrestling there, and obviously some Spider-Man and a bit of geekiness and a bit of gaming. I still haven't got Last of Us 2. That's upset me greatly.
Believe me, I'm actually quite behind when it comes to gaming at the minute. At the minute, I'm doing retro gaming and stuff at the moment because.
Oh, not how retro? Are we talking?
I can go as retro as you want. When I cut this recording in a minute, I'll show you. But ladies and gentlemen, you can subscribe to all my channels here on YouTube, and you can join us here next week for another episode. I'm not going to ruin it for you on who our next guest is. You can find that out on Facebook next week. We'll see you next time. Say goodbye, guys.
See you later.
Thank you guys for having me. It's been a pleasure.
Cheers, guys. Thanks for watching. See you next week.